Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I am great, thank you.
And what is your name?
Greg Moore.
Greg Moore.
Somerset 106 WYKY FM.
Greg Moore. Okay. Would you describe your announcing specialization?
My announcing specialization. I tend to be, of course, I work not only for Somerset 106, but for Fork Broadcasting, which has many stations, and we all do voiceover work for each other. I tend to be the person that people have do their VOs when they want more of the manic excitement, county fair type of, it's the fair at the when somebody wants that exciting sort of manic thing for their voiceover work, I tend to do that. And otherwise, in the field, you've seen with me and Amy, just like with the morning line, I tend to take the lead when it's food, the arts, entertainment, nerdy science stuff, where Amy will tend to take the lead when it's politics, local, but so yeah, arts, food, entertainment, and action-packed mania would be my style, I would say.
Okay, and do you have an educational background when it comes to radio?
Back in about 1991, when Somerset Community College had an actual radio broadcasting program, I had a couple of years there that I took that program, but at that time, I'd already been working professionally in radio for some years when I was going to school to get an education for radio. So you'd
say that with radio, you really don't have to have necessarily a degree.
No, it's especially not in today's world. I would say it's about getting your foot in the door. That's the main thing. Get that foot in the door in some an intern capacity. You can speak to this personally. You come and be an intern, and if you have the confidence, if you act like if you like the work, if you have some true aptitude for it, that's what radio stations are really looking for, more than somebody who's necessarily been educational system trained in radio. It's more about somebody who's paid their dues and worked their way up. I would guess hardly anyone in the radio industry anymore gets hired on to come on and just do a morning show if you don't have experience. It's more about working your way up. Most people start in some kind of intern capacity, work their way up through part-time before they land an actual full-time position in radio. Experience and just aptitude in general is much more important to us in a hiring capacity than the education, at least in radio. It might not be like that in television. In radio, that's really what we look for.
Okay. And what were some of your early positions that you held in the broadcast field?
Well, my first radio job, I was 15 years old. Mom had to drive me to work, didn't have a driver's license, anything yet. And here in Somerset, they opened up, which at the time in 1986 was a brand new 50,000 watt Christian station. And the pastor that owned the station knew me. And now I moved to Kentucky in 1981. So you can imagine in 1986, I spoke my voice was much less Kentucky even than it is now. I mean, I got Kentucky in there, but I don't, you can probably tell, tell a hint that I wasn't born here.
Yeah.
But I do talk like I'm from Kentucky now. But so my voice got me in there, and he knew I was a 15-year-old kid who would work for basically nothing. That counted for a lot too. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of people whose very first radio job is talking on the air at a 50,000 watt station. That's kind of rare. But I just knew the right people. Again, it's knowing the right people and getting your foot in the door. But that was one of my early ones. I worked for another station that's not around here in our town anymore, and it was a classic rock station. I've worked for about every radio station in our town at one point or another.
And would you agree with that an announcer needs to have emotional requirements, kind of like be able to handle the stress and anything that comes to you at like the last minute.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people who work in radio, especially early on in their radio careers, take it so seriously. And it is serious because there's a lot of people listening out there. But I have to just put myself in the frame of mind sometime when things go wrong. We're not saving lives here. If I have 3 seconds of dead air, or if I mispronounce the name of something, nobody's going to die. There's not going to be planes falling out of the sky. It's all cool. And another thing is to just, if you do make mistakes live on the air, just own it. Laugh about it. You know, be prepared to laugh at yourself
before somebody laughs at you.
Yeah, they're laughing with you at that point. Now when you mess up, you be the first person to laugh about it, and it's all cool with everybody. But if you try and cover it, you know, and kind of backpedal and then you don't, you know, people are laughing at you then. But no, that's a thing that I learned that takes a lot of the stress off of me, is I just have to remember, that's what I always say in my head. We're not saving lives here. I'm not a doctor. A mistake is not going to hurt anybody.
Now, if you had the chance to do it all over again, would announcing be your career, or would you choose something different?
No, I'm doing exactly what I want to do and where I want to do it. I don't really have any, a whole lot of people, especially when they first get into radio, their main goal is to be some kind of Howard Stern syndicated, hundreds of thousands of people all over America are listening to them. No, I am perfectly happy right here in Somerset, Kentucky. It's the smaller the pond, the bigger the fish you are, I guess is part of that maybe. But no, I would certainly still get into radio and announcing. I have, since I was a young child, I had definitely had an aptitude for performance of any kind. Like for first grade, I won our school talent show by singing Grandma's Featherbed by John Denver. So I've been a performer my whole life, really. So it was just natural. Just natural the step into radio.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ashley.